Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2 wasn't just intense, it was devastating. From the emotional flashbacks of Gojo's school days to the chaos that unfolded during the Shibuya Incident, this season changed the entire landscape of the Jujutsu Kaisen universe. Major characters fell, alliances shattered, and the balance of power tilted into terrifying territory. If you need a full breakdown of everything that happened, every battle, every betrayal, and every soul-crushing moment, this is the complete recap you've been looking for.
マジか。領域展開。僕が殺します。
In 2006, second-grade sorcerer Utahime Yori and first-grade sorcerer Mei Mei investigate a cursed house. When the two become trapped, second-year students Satoru Gojo, Suguru Geto, and Shoko Yeri appear to save them, later being reprimanded for their recklessness. Gojo and Geto have a friendly disagreement about the relationship between sorcerers and non-sorcerers, the weak and the strong. Their next assignment comes courtesy of Master Tengen. Every 500 years, to counteract his immortality curse technique and prevent him from evolving beyond a human, Tengen merges with a person known as a star plasma vessel to restart his body. Gojo and Geto are hired to protect the current vessel, 14-year-old Riko Amanai, who is being targeted by two groups, curse user sect Q and religious group Time Vessel Association, who worship Tengen and believe her assimilation will taint his purity. The boys are attacked by Q members when they arrive at Riko's place. Elsewhere, due to being non-sorcerers, the TVA hires an assassin to kill Riko. Toji Zenin, now going by his wife's maiden name, Fushiguro. Gojo and Geto easily dispose of the Q attackers and are introduced to Riko and her caretaker and only family, Misato Kuroi. Despite wanting to take her to Jujutsu High immediately for safety, Tengen orders them to allow her to attend school for the day and follow her wishes, as she will no longer be able to see loved ones or have a normal life once she is assimilated with him. Knowing he will not emerge victorious if he faces Gojo now, Toji decides to wait it out and let other attackers wear him down first, adding fuel to the fire by putting a 30 million yen bounty on Riko's head. Gojo fights another attacker, though he fails to execute his reverse-cursed technique. Red, he is able to defeat them with his 6 eyes and Limitless. Riko then receives a text message that Kuroi has been captured. Gojo, Geto, and Riko storm the TVA's base in Okinawa and easily rescue Kuroi. They then decide to wait out the bounty's deadline by sightseeing on the island. Geto worries since Gojo has been using his 6 eyes technique non-stop for 2 days to protect them, making him tired. Once the deadline passes, the group returns to Tokyo Jujutsu High, only to be attacked by Toji, who uses Gojo's fatigue to catch him off guard. Gojo holds him back while Geto takes Riko and Kuroi to Tengen's. Gojo realizes that Toji has no cursed energy and was instead born with a heavenly restriction, granting him incredible physical prowess. Using a special-grade cursed tool designed to deactivate cursed techniques, Toji is able to bypass Gojo's powers and seemingly kill him. In Tengen's lair, Geto gives Riko the option of rejecting the assimilation, having decided with Gojo to go against Tengen if she wishes. Riko admits her wish to live life as a normal person. As Geto prepares to leave with her, she is shot in the head by Toji, instantly killing her and leaving Geto stunned. Geto fights Toji and attempts to absorb his cursed spirit, but fails, allowing Toji to defeat him. Toji presents Riko's corpse to the Time Vessel Association and collects his payment. He is confronted by Gojo, who survived by being able to access his reverse curse technique for the first time to heal himself. Gojo, also for the first time, hits Toji with a special combination of his limitless ability, Hollow Purple. The left side of Toji's body is blown apart, and as he succumbs to his wounds, he reveals that his son, Megumi, will be sold to the Zenin clan in a few years, and for Gojo to use that info as he likes. Geto rushes to the church to find Gojo bringing Riko's body back. Gojo stoically asks if they should kill the non-sorcerer TVA cultists, and Geto responds that there is no point as the TVA will dissolve soon, and there must always be a point to the actions of a Jujutsu sorcerer. 1 year later, Gojo has become so adept in his abilities that he is sent on more solo missions, leaving Geto to feel isolated with his own increasingly conflicted feelings about his convictions and the value of non-sorcerers after Riko's death. Special grade sorcerer Yuki Tsukumo reveals her desire to rid the world of cursed spirits created by the cursed energy from non-sorcerers. Geto realizes this is possible if they killed all non-sorcerers, forcing humanity to evolve. Two events push him over the edge: the death of Haibara, his cheerful underclassman during a mission, and when he discovers two sorcerer children, the Hasaba sisters, being abused by the non-sorcerer villagers. Now, fully despising them, he slaughters the village and his own non-sorcerer parents, and is sentenced to death. Anguished, Gojo confronts him, but is unable to go through with stopping his friend. Geto states his goal of creating a world with only sorcerers, and takes over the Star religious group. Gojo seeks out 6-year-old Megumi and decides to protect him from the Zenin clan, taking Megumi under his wing. In the present, in October 2018, Gojo is woken from his nap by Megumi, Yuji, and Nobara. Aoitoto and Meimei officially recommend Yuji, Megumi, Nobara, Makizenin, and Panda to be promoted to first-grade sorcerer. During a shopping trip, Nobara meets Yuko, an old classmate of Yuji's who has a crush on him, and invites Megumi and Yuji to hang out with them. The trio later meets Utahime to discuss the traitor within Jujutsu High who has been working with the cursed spirits that attacked the school, Mechamaru. They go to the building where Kokichi Muta's real body is located, only to find it abandoned, confirming the truth. Muta had made a deal to work with Geto in exchange for Mahito using idol transfiguration to repair his body. Mahito heals Muta's body, and the two immediately begin fighting as Muta reveals a giant ultimate Mechamaru with the intention of exorcising Mahito, joining his friends, and warning Gojo about Geto's plans. Mahito is able to regenerate most of the damage he takes from Muta's attacks, but Muta releases a missile of cursed energy that directly hits him, damaging part of his soul. Mahito activates his domain expansion, trapping Muta within, but Muta activates a simple domain, which destroys Mahito's domain. Muta prepares to attack Geto, but Mahito, who survived his attack, catches him off guard, killing him. Several days later, on Halloween, a veil is dropped around Shibuya, trapping all civilians within. The crowd is told to ask for Satoru Gojo. Several sorcerer teams, Megumi, Nobara, Maki, Nanami, and Panda among them, are positioned at the entrances to the veil, prepared to act if necessary, while Gojo enters it alone. Gojo enters the crowded Shibuya subway station, where he confronts the curses Jogo, Hanami, and Choso on the train tracks. Yuji accompanies Meimei and her little brother Ui Ui to handle a veil at a different subway station. They find transfigured humans there, informing them of Mahito's presence. Yuji fights the grasshopper curse guarding the veil, while Meimei and Ui Ui take care of the transfigured humans. He defeats it, destroying the veil, but Mahito and all the civilians are already gone. Acting on advice from Geto, Jogo uses the civilians in an attempt to distract and restrict Gojo from using his full power. He and Hanami execute a domain amplification, which allows them to deactivate a person's cursed technique, forcing Gojo to avoid them. Jogo recalls Geto's instructions to keep Gojo busy for 20 minutes before Geto arrives with the prison realm. Gojo kills Hanami with his Limitless. Mahito unleashes 1,000 transfigured humans into the station, causing chaos and murder. Pushed into a corner, Gojo activates his domain expansion for only 0.2 seconds, immobilizing everyone while minimizing the psychological damage of being in his domain for the civilians. He saves the civilians by wiping out all 1,000 transfigured humans, leaving him exhausted, just as Geto intended. It is then that he is confronted by the prison realm box, and before he can escape, Geto greets him, revealing himself to Gojo for the first time. The sight of his dead best friend leaves Gojo stunned, distracting him with memories of Geto, and allowing the time needed for the prison realm to trap him. Gojo realizes this Geto is an imposter, leading him to lift the top of his head to expose a brain with a mouth. The brain survives by taking over people's brains with his cursed technique. He'd transplanted his brain into Geto's dead body to access his curse manipulation for sinister plans. In the train tunnels, Yuji is informed that Gojo has been sealed. Gojo addresses the true Geto, causing Geto's hand to start choking his own neck. This surprises Pseudo-Geto, but he overcomes it, and the prison realm closes with Gojo inside. Yuji is informed of these events through a Mechamaru earpiece that Muta had created as failsafes to guide his comrades in case he died and Gojo was sealed. Mechamaru guides Yuji, instructing him to tell everyone of Gojo's sealing, which he does by shouting from the rooftops. The other teams are sent into the Vale, and Ijichi is stabbed by curse user Haruta. Nanami, Megumi, and Ino meet up with Yuji to come up with their next plan of attack. Meanwhile, the prison realm struggles to contain Gojo due to his interference within, forcing Suguru Geto to watch over it till it stabilizes. The other curses get into an argument over Yuji, with Choso and Mahito wanting to kill him while Jogo wants to resurrect Sukuna. Mahito proposes a game to see who can catch him first. Nanami leaves to find Ijichi and take care of what's going on inside Shibuya Station, instructing Yuji, Megumi, and Ino investigate the barrier preventing sorcerers from entering. The trio confronts the 3 curse users protecting the veils. Yuji and Megumi fight one while Ino fights the other 2, a grandmother and her grandson. The curse users reveal that they're out having fun now that Gojo is sealed, as fear of his incredible power had prevented them from doing whatever they wanted. The grandmother completes a seance, transforming the grandson into Toji Fushiguro. With Toji's strength, the grandson defeats Ino. Megumi figures out their opponent's cursed technique, inverse, which lets him reverse the strength of powerful attacks. Yuji and Megumi trip him up by throwing a barrage of both weak and strong attacks at him, defeating him. Nanami discovers Ijichi bleeding out but still alive, and carries him to safety. Yuji and Megumi destroy the veil trapping the sorcerers in the city. However, the veils trapping Gojo and the civilians in Shibuya remain active. They rescue Ino and split up, Megumi to take Ino to safety outside the veil, and Yuji to reconvene with Nanami. Toji's powerful soul is able to completely overtake the grandson's body, and he promptly kills the grandmother. On the streets, Nobara and Akari are confronted by Haruta, who easily overwhelms both. Nanami arrives before he can kill them, and seething with anger, Nanami brutally defeats him and tells the 2 girls to wait for rescue in the mall. In the subway tunnel, Suguru Geto unleashes a strong cursed spirit on Mei and Uiwi. In Shibuya Station, Yuji runs into Choso, who prepares to fight him to avenge his 2 brothers that Yuji and Nobara had previously killed. Choso pierces Yuji's left arm clear through with his curse technique, blood manipulation. Yuji struggles to overcome Choso's attacks until his Mechamaru earpiece advises him of a plan. He escapes to the restroom and floods it. While the Mechamaru earpiece is destroyed in the attack, the water disrupts Choso's blood, preventing him from going at his fullest. Despite this, he pierces Yuji's liver. Believing he will die here, Yuji goes all out with the intent of taking Choso down with him so the others can save Gojo. However, Choso uses his blood to form a shield that protects his body from Yuji's divergent fist. Choso is about to kill him when suddenly, flashes of memories that never happened flood his mind. In them, he sees himself hanging out with Yuji, whom he addresses as his brother. Confused, injured, and spiraling, Choso spares him, wandering away. The Hasaba sisters then discover the unconscious Yuji. Meimei defeats the smallpox deity cursed spirit using Ui and her crows as a distraction. They are then confronted by Suguru Geto. In Shibuya Station, Nanami, Maki, and Naobito encounter the cursed spirit Dagon, who had been a curse womb. Dagon evolves to a stronger adult state and traps all three of them in his domain expansion. Nanami and Naobito are consumed by a horde of his Shikigami. Megumi breaks through the domain from the outside, starting a tug of war against Dagon's domain with his own. Nanami and Naobito survive, and Megumi reveals that the exit to the domain is under his feet. He will make a hole through which all of them can escape together. Before they can, however, Toji emerges through the passage. Toji takes Maki's cursed tool and targets the strongest opponent in his vicinity, Dagon. He effortlessly kills Dagon with no cursed energy and only speed and strength, ending the domain. He promptly targets the next strongest, Megumi, who is launched outside the building for the fight. Just then Jogo appears, mourning Dagon before abruptly incinerating Nanami, Maki, and Naobito in retaliation. He senses Sukuna's presence and finds the Hasaba sisters feeding Yuji a finger. Jogo proceeds to feed Yuji 10 at once, bringing the total to 15 fingers within him. The sudden influx of fingers causes Sukuna to awaken, temporarily in control of Yuji's body. The Hasabas ask Sukuna to kill the imposter inhabiting Geto's body, offering another finger's location as compensation. Annoyed by the order, he brutally kills them and makes a deal with Jogo. If Jogo can land one hit on him, Sukuna will help his group and kill everyone in Shibuya except for one, Megumi. Megumi fights Toji but is overwhelmed by him. When Toji makes contact by stabbing Megumi, he is shocked to recognize him and is momentarily brought back to his humanity. He recalls when he offered to sell Megumi to the Zenins, believing he would be better off there. Toji asks for his name. Confused, Megumi responds, Fushiguro. Proud that Megumi chose his own family name over Zenin, Toji kills his vessel by stabbing his own head. Megumi barely gets time to breathe before he is attacked by Haruta. Elsewhere, Sukuna and Jogo engage in a fiery battle that absolutely decimates Shibuya. Sukuna toys with Jogo before using his open technique, revealing his capability to use fire as well. Jogo is incinerated in seconds and reunites with Hanami and Dagon in a white void, where he calls themselves as true humans. Sukuna says that Jogo was foolish to try to replace humans but acknowledges his strength, causing him to cry. As Sukuna reunites with Uraume, a curse user from his past, a creature starts to attack Haruta, who begs for an unconscious Megumi to wake up. Near death and knowing Haruta will kill him, Megumi summons his final suicide ploy, the ultimate Shikigami of the Ten Shadows technique that no user in history has ever been able to subjugate, Mahoraga. Mahoraga knocks him out, and before it can kill Haruta, Sukuna saves him as he recognizes the ritual. Megumi will be in a death-like state until Mahoraga is either defeated or kills him and Haruta. Intending to use Megumi for his future plans, Sukuna faces the Shikigami himself to save him. The two proceed in a destructive battle that further devastates Shibuya. To counteract Mahoraga's ability to adapt to any attack, Sukuna activates his domain expansion, Malevolent Shrine, which mercilessly slashes everything and every person within a 140-meter radius, including Mahoraga. Haruta is also caught in the attack and killed. Sukuna secretly brings Megumi to Shoko to be healed before showing his work to Yuji. Yuji is traumatized, blaming himself for everyone that died by Sukuna's hand. Meanwhile, a half-burned Nanami wanders the subway. Nanami, delirious and near death, thinks about his dream of visiting a beach in Malaysia as he comes upon a group of transfigured humans. He uses his remaining strength to take them all down, but just as he is done, Mahito appears and touches his back, prepared to use idol transfiguration. Nanami reflects on his life's choices, addressing Haibara, who'd been his close friend. a vision of Haibara appears before him and points toward Yuji, who has just stumbled upon the encounter, frozen in shock. Nanami tells Yuji he is leaving the rest to him and is killed. Enraged and shaken about why this is all happening, Yuji fights Mahito, who takes advantage of his emotional instability. A double of himself that Mahito had created hours earlier encounters Nobara out on the streets. Realizing she is close to Yuji, Mahito decides to kill her to drive him further into despair. After Akari is taken to safety, Nobara re-enters the Veil, not wanting to sit back while the others are fighting. She encounters the Mahito double, who is unable to use idol transfiguration like the main Mahito. They discover that her resonance attack damages the soul of both the double and main Mahito fighting Yuji in the station. Yuji recognizes Nobara's attack on the main Mahito and is rejuvenated, realizing he is not alone in this fight. Both Mahitos lure their opponents into the corridor, where they trade places, allowing the real Mahito to touch Nobara's face with idol transfiguration. Nobara reminisces about her past growing up in her small village, her best friend Fumi, and her idol, the older Saori, who was driven out by the villagers. In the present, Saori, now in her 20s, remembers Nobara. Nobara sees all of her friends in a white void. She tells Yuji to let everyone know that her life wasn't so bad, as the left side of her face explodes and she collapses before Yuji. Yuji goes into a state of shock, seeing Nobara's body. He thinks about Nanami and everyone he failed to save, and Mahito takes advantage by pounding away at him, executing a black flash. Todo saves Yuji right before he is killed and gives him a pep talk while Arata Nita heals his injuries. Arata also attempts to heal Nobara, telling Yuji there is a slim chance she will survive. Todo begins to fight Mahito, and Yuji, now with a newfound resolve, joins him. The rest of the Kyoto students travel to Shibuya to support, as Mechamaru's puppet had kept them away to protect them, believing that only Todo and Arata would be the ones to come out alive. Mahito unleashes a horde of transfigured humans, forcing everyone outside onto the streets. Yuji and Todo continue to battle Mahito together. The curse attempts to separate the pair, but does not succeed. Influenced by Gojo, he activates a 0.2-second domain expansion to avoid Sukuna's retaliation to touching his soul. He succeeds in hitting Todo. Todo cuts off his hand before he's affected by the transfiguration. He activates his curse technique by clapping Mahito's hand, allowing Yuji to land a black flash and score a direct hit on Mahito's soul. At this moment, Mahito has figured out the true shape of his own soul and activates idol transfiguration on himself, becoming the instant spirit body of distorted killing. Todo again distracts him, making him think he's used his cursed technique when in fact it no longer works, allowing Yuji to hit another black flash that destroys Mahito's new form. Yuji impassively states that he will kill him as many times as he has to. A hysterical Mahito attempts to flee when Suguru Geto appears, offering to save the curse. Mei Mei and Ui Ui have fled to Malaysia. Suguru Geto absorbs and consumes Mahito, taking Mahito's curse technique for himself. The Kyoto students arrive to provide backup. When Miwa attacks, Suguru Geto responds with a maximum Uzumaki, which Kusakabe deflects. Choso arrives as well, revealing Suguru Geto's real identity as the man who experimented on Choso and the other cursed wombs. Noritoshi Kamo, considered the most evil sorcerer in history, shocking all the other sorcerers present. Suguru Geto reveals Kamo is just one of the many identities he's taken throughout the years. By now, Choso has realized that Yuji is one of his younger brothers, and the two are related, so fights Suguru Geto. But even his power is not enough, and when the rest of the sorcerers try to assist, Uraume intervenes with their Frost Calm cursed technique to freeze everyone with ice. As Uraume goes to kill them all, Yuki Tsukumo arrives to help. Yuki confronts Suguru Geto over their conflicting ideologies, the former believing humanity's next step in evolution is the removal of cursed energy, while the latter believes in optimizing cursed energy. Suguru Geto activates Mahito's idol transfiguration on 2 different kinds of non-sorcerers all over Japan that he has marked, those who consumed cursed objects like Yuji, and those with latent cursed techniques like Junpei, turning them all into sorcerers. Among those awakened is Tsumiki Fushiguro. Suguru Geto will force the 2 groups to kill each other in order to gain a deeper understanding of cursed energy. He unleashes 10 million cursed spirits into the country, allowing his group to escape. Before he leaves, he addresses Sukuna, saying that he is bringing back the golden age of sorcerers, the Heian era. In the aftermath, the government plans to go public about the existence of cursed energy as cursed spirits grow more rampant among the streets. The Jujutsu higher-ups declare Gojo an accomplice in the Shibuya Incident, sentence Principal Yaga to death, and reinstate Yuji's execution, with Yuta Okatsu named his executioner.